Well, while we don't yet know who the new Minister of Mineral Resources will be in the new cabinet, it's emerged there's been a decrease in the amount of total mineral sales by South Africa in the last 2 years. The Minerals Council reporting that total mineral sales were down by around 12% from 2022 to 2023. Mzila Mthenjane is the CEO of the Minerals Council. Mzila, good afternoon to you. Firstly, what's changed that's led to this decrease? I mean, why are we making, it seems, less money from minerals? And I kind of almost want to ask straight away, is this load shedding?
Hi, Stephen, and thanks for having me. I mean, it's partly due to load shedding, before the recent 90 days. And where load shedding is concerned, it would have affected, particularly the gold and platinum from a processing perspective. But overall, would have seen how the combination of electricity supply or lack thereof and logistics performance has affected the whole of the mining industry's output in the past 2 years.
So I imagine the problems at Transnet, is that what you're pointing to? The problems we've seen at the ports, the problems on the railways?
That's right. That's what I'm referring to. And that's had a huge effect on the bulk commodities. And by bulk, I'm referring to iron ore and coal in the main, but as well as manganese and to an extent, or maybe to a large extent, chrome exports as well.
You talk about 90 days of no load shedding. The winter outlook is still in force, Eskom tells us, but let's hope and pray we don't have much intense load shedding for the rest of the year. Would you expect in the minerals situation to bounce back? I mean, would the output, the total value of our sales bounce back if Eskom and Transnet play the game?
Well, from an electricity perspective, that is really beginning to inspire confidence. It's still early days. You would have heard in the past week, 2 weeks, or past month, people have been questioning as to the reasons why we've been having electricity security for so many days. I mean, Eskom still has some challenges going forward. So we're quite pleased with the progress that they've made so far. We're very pleased with progress that we're seeing in terms of investment in renewables, of which the mining industry is a leading investor in that. I would like to see progress on transmission. I think the policy reforms that we've heard about are really encouraging. And so all of this really needs to come together. But what we're seeing so far from the leadership of Eskom, I think we're certainly in the right direction. And as far as logistics is concerned, I think that's still a challenge. You would have seen recent reports from both Thungela and Exxaro, two large coal producers and exporters, indicating that the run rate for Transnet is not pleasing. It's indicating at below the levels that they achieved in the previous fiscal year. They've experienced a couple of derailments, which is not great. So there's still some challenges that need to be addressed. But to your point, if we address these two issues, and the third one that I should mention on crime and corruption, to ensure that the performance remains consistent and predictable, I think we should really begin to see GDP growth upwards of 1% and touching the 2% levels.
We're expecting a new cabinet soon. There have been huge problems in the sector while Gwede Mantashe has been the Minister of Mineral Resources, also been the Minister of Energy, which has had an impact on you as well. The new cadastral system, which basically explains who has which mineral rights where, has been a disaster. I think everybody agrees on that. It's taken a long time for his department to sort of agree to even fix that. There's been a lack of investment in the industry as a result of that and other factors. Do you think Gwede Mantashe should have another term at Mineral Resources?
It's not for me to determine that. And the way I'm thinking about this question, because somebody asked me yesterday a similar question, is that we find ourselves with a different, political structure. And as you say, hopefully we'll hear soon what the Parliament would look like. And I was really looking forward to seeing the will of the people coming through and how it will be respected in terms of its being received by the political parties. It is incumbent then for the parties to form a government that will deliver on what the people expect. And part of that is going to have to be on the people that they put in place. There was a commentator just before I came on who said, this government cannot afford to fail the people. And I think it will be reflected in the kind of people that they put in very critical positions. Yesterday, at the end of our AGM, I did make the point that I think mining is an industry that needs to be placed top of the agenda in as far as economic development is concerned, because it's an industry that can attract investment. It's an industry, if you look at its multiplier effect, it can have significant economic impacts through employment, but also socially in terms of dependency, where for every employee, employed on the mine, if they have 3 to 4 dependents, that's a significant number of people who will be escaping poverty and continue to live in dignity. So it will be incumbent on the new government to ensure that the person that they put in place, if it's not good, it will do better and build on the foundations that Gwedo has left behind.
The ministry was merged with the energy ministry. Should it be separated this time? I mean, would that be better for your industry, do you think?
So, yeah, and we've discussed that internally within the Minerals Council as a team, and I believe that there should be a consideration for a separation of these two industries in order to give them, the required focus. So if we look at mining, for instance, we need to address the challenges that the industry is facing, both administratively, in terms of capacity and skills to ensure that, from an application of the law and administration of the law, it happens effectively and efficiently. We are poised for growth. There's been lots of conversation about critical minerals and how this world can be a better place with critical minerals. But unless we fix the administrative and legislative challenges, those minerals are not going to see the light of day, because we're not going to have the investment that is required to be able to take those minerals out of the ground. Equally,
I interrupted you. Please continue.
Yeah, sorry. Equally, on the energy side, the industry is going through huge reform and transformation. And renewable energy has been successful in terms of its implementation and investment. And there's other elements of energy in terms of liquid fuels as well. So both industries, in my view, require specific focus and attention from individual ministries.
Thank you very much indeed. Mzila Mthenjane, CEO of the Minerals Council, really do appreciate the time.